the Traffic Avenue. Traffic Avenue, the show for me and you. Mondays to Fridays, ooh, the Traffic Avenue.
Flex. Buckle up and join the best. Let Citi relieve your stress, so yes. Let the music soothe your soul and keep it going just to refresh. Buckle and enjoy the ride from 2 to the half of the 5. Mondays to Fridays, happening live. Where we gon' have a ball, you can text your guys. Let me tell you what you really gotta do. You can count on us, we come through. We got everything you need, that's true. Are you ready for the Traffic Avenue? Let me tell you what you really gotta do. You can count on us, we come through. We got everything you need, that's true. An applause for the Traffic Avenue.
Traffic Avenue, the show for me and you. Mondays to Fridays, ooh, the Traffic Avenue. Traffic Avenue, the show for me and you. Mondays to Fridays, ooh, Traffic Avenue, oh yeah.
Eyewitness News. Be there as it happens.
Citi News.
Hello, good evening. Welcome to Eyewitness News, coming to you live from our studios here at number 11, Dr. Martin Loop in Adabraka in Accra. My name is Salom Adonu. Tonight I'm here with
Hawa Idrisu Mustafa.
Coming up over the next 90 minutes, renal unit of the Kolebu Teaching Hospital faces imminent closure for the second time in 6 months following a 2 million cedi debt accrued by the Center for Treating Kidney Disease Patients, few months after government cleared some 4 million cedis owed by the same center. We'll tell you more. Also coming up, international human rights group Amnesty International against custodial sentence proposed for persons who promote or advocate LGBT activities or beliefs. Still on Eyewitness News, 3 striking teacher unions comprising the Senior Staff Association of Public Universities in Ghana, Teachers and Education Workers Union, and the Federation of University Senior Staff Association of Ghana suspend strike. We'll tell you more. Stay with 97. Citi FM for more on this and other stories on Eyewitness News and in business.
Government urged to implement robust policies that will boost Ghana's trade competitiveness.
There is more in business in the next 50 minutes. Eyewitness News is live across the country on all our affiliates and around the globe at citinewsroom.com. You can comment on WhatsApp line 0549986996, and the bulletin or the program also is live across partner stations, as I did mention. In the Upper West region, we are on Tumpani Radio 88.5 in Nadoli, and also on Jirapa 96.1 FM, also in the Upper West region. Rekhas 92.1 FM in Bongo Namu in the Upper East region. North Star Radio 92.1 in Tamale in the Northern region, Northeast region. This is Nobia 98.1 FM in Narelugu. Also, Beach 105.5 FM in Takrady and Sky Power 93.5 FM in Takrady, both in the Western region. In Ashanti region, this is Focus 94.3 FM on KNUST campus in Kumasi, and also Orange 107.9 FM in Kumasi. In the Volta region, this is Sela Radio 97.1 FM in Dabala, and in Holy 88.5 FM in Aflao. The Savannah region, this is Kasha 99.5 FM in Damango. You can follow me on Twitter or X at Selomadunu. The hashtag, as always, is Citi Newsroom. To our very first story now, the Director of Medical Affairs at the Kolebu Teaching Hospital has revealed that the renal dialysis unit of the hospital has amassed a debt of 2 million Ghana cedis for treating kidney disease patients. Government last year settled an initial debt of 4 million cedis incurred by the unit 3 months prior. The medical director or the director of medical affairs of the facility, Dr. Owusu Sechere, is joining us on the line now to help us appreciate what exactly went into the debt accrued by the unit. Hello, good evening, sir. Dr. Owusu Sechere. Good evening, sir. Welcome to Eyewitness News. Just months ago, I mean, you reopened to the public, and we're all happy just to hear again that the facility is closing down again. Tell us what exactly the case is.
I don't think anybody has said the facility is closing down. I think we are only giving the real situation as it is. We haven't talked about closing the facility down at all. I'm not sure where you got that information from. Basically, what we're saying is that the factors that led to the debt that was accrued was because of under recovery. And even though government has paid the 4 million cedis, between the time that the place was reopened to now, we're still under recovering. And each dialysis session that is done, out of 760 cedis, 380 paid. So that is also accumulating. And that is why we're saying that if there is a way we can expedite the approval of that fees review, so that at least we will be able to break even. Other than that, it will come to a stage where services may be affected again. So we are not saying it's going to happen now, but I think we were just opening up the discussion on the need for us to relook at passing the. I think Parliament is looking at the fees and charges. Then I think if there's a way they can expedite that, so that we bring closer, so that we know exactly what is going into the costing of dialysis. And I think that is what was discussed the last time.
I see, but we thought that there were philanthropists and corporate institutions which often made donations to the facility. That hasn't helped much, has it?
No, it has. Actually, service is ongoing because of impact because of that. But you can't count on the magnanimity of people when you are planning service. We need to be able to have concrete budgets, concrete plans on sustaining the service. And I think that is what led into that discussion about the need for us to maybe get Parliament to pass the fee so that we know exactly where we're going from there.
So what's the fee submitted to Parliament? Is it a 760 cedis, that you're expecting Parliament to pass? Is that what you submitted to Parliament?
Yes, I think we looked at the realistic charges. And when we say realistic, we're not even looking at profit. We're just looking at breaking at least recovering the cost of the dialysis sessions that each individual gets. So we haven't talked about profit at all. And that's what we submitted to Parliament, and we're hoping that they will look at it favorably and then pass it so that we will have closure. I mean, people living with the disease will have that closure that, yes, it has been dealt with, and going forward, this is the exact pathway that we're following.
So that will be full cost recovery.
That is the breaking even. So if the cost of dialysis, the cost of doing one dialysis without adding any profit to the hospital is 760, then that at least must be recovered. And if I had a renal problem, I think I'll be interested in that as well, because it affects the sustainability of the service. Even though we're not talking about closing it now, if we don't conclude it, there may come a time where we may need to take some drastic measures.
So, I mean, we're talking about financial access now, and the risk of, catastrophic expenditure on health, as it were. What do you think will be the long-term solution to this? Because, full cost recovery, or break even, as you call it, may not be, the best for a lot of people who have the condition. So it means that you will be gradually pricing out people who may otherwise have wanted the service, out of, the system. And that may not necessarily, be good. What will be your suggestion or your proposal as a long-term solution to the problem of financial access to the services you provide?
So we need to have a clear discussion, a clear policy on funding such conditions. It is kidney now, but there are other conditions that are also chronic that we need to look at. I mean, with a little bit of support, people can survive. So there is corporate bodies that have come on board, and I think we need a lot more because of the capital-intensive nature of dealing with this condition. We also need to have a clear legislation on organ transplantation. We're talking about kidney transplant, because if you go out there, the dialysis is not lifelong. They do dialysis as they look for options for permanent solution, and that's transplant. The legislation on renal transplantation, or even transplantation, organ transplantation, needs to be looked at. And then I think there was some discussion about looking at insurance coming on board to be able to help defray the cost of people going through renal dialysis. I think these are all things that we have floated about. I know that some inquiry is being made or is being interrogated. If there's a way we can expedite that so that we have a comprehensive policy dealing with this issue going forward, I think that will be very helpful. And it will put people's minds at rest, those of us providing the service, and then people living with the condition also know that this is a clear way forward.
I see. What currently, what is the relationship between your unit and the National Health Insurance Authority, or scheme? Because I thought that a scheme covered some acute forms of dialysis or kidney matters. Is that not the case?
So the discussion with National Health Insurance Scheme is ongoing. I know that they set a committee to look into it. I'm not privy to the report, if any. And then I think I would not want to second guess what is going to be in the report. But yes, when it comes to acute means that maybe somebody gets malaria and then they clog their kidneys and then the kidneys shut down. As part of the treatment for acute kidney failure, dialysis is there. But when it comes to chronic, that is where it becomes a bit of an issue. If acute is managed very well, then there may not be the need for the chronic dialysis. What we're talking about is chronic dialysis. And I think that is where the clear policy guidelines will be immensely helpful.
So averagely, about how many people pass through your dialysis center on daily basis?
In a month, we do about 2,000 sessions of dialysis.
2,000?
So I think we can do the math. Yes, in a month. So we can do the math. And that also puts things in perspective in terms of the under-recovery. If you're doing 2,000 sessions of dialysis a month, and each one, you incur a debt of about 400 cedis, then you can do the mathematics and see why we need to have a comprehensive solution to this problem.
I see. For those listening, maybe a bit of education, public health education will do. What can people do, whilst they are healthy to ensure that they do not get to the point of getting the kidney disease to make them want to be on a dialysis program?
I think there's a lot. I'm not a renal physiologist or physician, but what I will say is that we need to screen ourselves. There is a yearly screening which is done, and I think people will have to take it seriously. When you see it early, you're able to put in corrective measures, you're able to slow down the progression. And that is what I will want to say. I will not want to go into what the failure is and what are the factors and the rest. But if we screen ourselves very well every year to go through that screening modalities, we should be able to pick up these things early. And once we do that, and we put in corrective measures, there may not be that progression to chronic stage where we will require dialysis for the rest of our life.
Thank you very much, Dr. Owusu Sechere, for speaking to us. Dr. Owusu Sechere is the Director of Medical Affairs at the Kolebu Teaching Hospital. He's been talking to us about the under-recoveries at the renal unit of that hospital. And he says that if it continues, then they may have to risk closing down the units because they cannot continue to run at a loss. Eyewitness News on 97.3 Citi FM. Let's speak to somebody who understands what dialysis is because the person goes through it himself. Kojo Ahintora is a spokesperson for the Renal Patients Association. He joins us on the line. Hello, good evening, sir. Welcome to Eyewitness News. We're just hearing from the Kolebu Teaching Hospital that they have incurred they've incurred some 2 million cedis in debt for treating kidney disease patients. And they say that if nothing is done about the under-recovery, the center may close down. How does this come to you?
Good evening. Thank you. It's not surprise. I mean, some of us, we knew this will come one day. And even though it has come a bit early, because they wanted to charge 767.42. And then they were pushed to cut it down to 3.8. So definitely they were going to be under recovery there. So some of us were, but the point is, this is the reality on the ground. Yes, the consumables are more expensive. Yes, we understand. But the point is, here we are. We all know the economy in which we are in. My brother, the patient can't pay even the 380 that we are paying now. People are not able to pay. Any NC patient, you're supposed to do 3 times a week or twice a week. Now people are doing just once a week. The condition, people are deteriorating. And that is the point. We can't pay. The government have to come in. I heard you asking about the NHI. When this thing started May 23rd, I was at your studios with Bernard Laville, and we called Dr. Okuboy, and he said the National Health Insurance can do is doable. They can do it if only they will not cap the health insurance money, because now the National Health Insurance money is being capped. So if they can release the money to the National Health Insurance, it can be done. It can be done. Why? I don't know. I don't know. I don't know how we put it. People are going to die again. People are going to die again on this thing. And I understand I understand them, yes. It's almost 3 months now. So we are paying 380. The difference of about 400. Who is paying for it? I remember the colleague CEO once said that he has done all the bills. He went to show it to a parliamentary committee on health that if we are still going to stay with the 380, then the government is supposed to subsidize every month like 900 and something. We didn't know what happened. Whether the money is coming, the money is not coming. We don't even know what is happening now. And this is a very serious matter. We need to look at it.
I see. What is clear is that government too is unable to pay. So it's unfortunate, but it does appear that the patient, unfortunately, may have to find the money to pay. Otherwise, the place will close down and everybody will be affected.
That's what I'm saying. That is the situation. And this is sometimes when I see people say I'm being a bit more, I'm not being. The point is, you don't get a dialysis, you die. If you don't have the money to go and pay, you die. So, where do we stand? The government has to come in. Yes, we are doing the national health insurance. And like I said, I'm quoting Okuboy again. Okuboy said it can be. They can do it. If Ghana really wants to do it, it's doable. If only the health insurance money will not be recapped. And it's being capped. That is the challenge we have. We say we are collecting money for her. And then the money is put in a consolidated fund. And this small amount of money is given to the health insurance support. The rest of the money, where does it?
But the health insurance scheme itself, I mean, it has its own problems because they also say they don't get enough money. Indeed, that the premium they pay, that premium hasn't been increased since the scheme began some 20 years ago. So they also have difficulties. Like, indeed, people say that if you put a dialysis on the National Health Insurance Scheme, you risk collapsing the entire scheme just because of this. So that also is an issue that will have to be looked at properly, just so we do not collapse the scheme, altogether.
I totally agree with you. But what is so difficult we increasing the premium? What is so difficult about we increasing the premium? Rather than people dying. Yes, it is true. The amount that we are paying is very small. But what is so difficult for us increasing the premium so that it can be beneficial? But better, after the time they closed me, the outpatient people were 250. When the place was closed for about 5 months and we went back, come and see the number of patients that we've got. We are now normally getting to about 600. So it's now like malaria. Let me put it that way. Everybody is getting it. So we need, as our attention needs to be paid there. Because the point is, here we are. When this thing happens, either you go for transplant or you do dialysis. Transplant is not easy to go by. The only means you can afford is the dialysis. And now if one session is going to be 765.2, and you're supposed to do twice a week, where are you going to find the money from? We understand. So, like I was saying, we need to reach out to the other organizations, the private sector people, because like yesterday, Zoom Lion came to come and give us 500,000. It's money. Zoom Lion was there yesterday to give us 500,000. And I remember when the police was locked up to this church, Maker's House Chapel, they also came to give like 100,000. So small, all those people should come on board to support us so that maybe we can get the money to support the unit in doing all this. Because the point is the government alone also too cannot handle it. That is the challenge we are having. And this is very serious. If they close the Kolebu unit again, because right now, I can say Kolebu is the one taking the cheapest.
So which other sources or centers are available, be it private or public, and how much do they charge?
For now, the private, there are a lot of them in town. The private. And the least you can get is about 600. 650, 600. Now, when Kolebu was closed, we had the Bank Hospital. They need to have a lot of machines. So they were the ones supporting us. They were taking 550. But as of now, they've also increased it to 650. So you can imagine. But those small ones, 700, 800, even Yahoo Clinic, they are taking 900 per session. So you can imagine. So Kolebu is the one who is being more moderate with us. And they give us good treatment and quality treatment. So we will just plead with the government. At least some fund should be allocated to us. I was saying that when we look at the COVID levy that we are paying, we don't have any COVID anymore. So why don't they transfer the COVID levy to the renal unit? So that at least something will come. Whilst the private sector also help us. So it helps from the situation. But we cannot sit there like that for people to die. We cannot sit there for people to die.
Very well. Thank you so much, Mr. Kojo Ahenkra, spokesperson for the Renal Patients Association. Thank you so much, and we hope that the authorities have heard you, and we hope that they do what is necessary to ensure that we all survive and we are all in good health. Eyewitness News on 97.3 Citi FM. Few of your messages that have been coming through. Olanjuna Kotia says, I wish that the government privatizes the Kolebu Teaching Hospital. The disgrace is unbearable to the citizens of Ghana. The price of everything in Kolebu is tripled, and tripled the price, and yet still things are not normal. What kind of institution is this, you ask? Daniel Akpaleo from Sandema says the issue surrounding the cost of renal treatment in Ghana clearly shows we have unprincipled and selfish leaders who do not simply care about the plight of the ordinary Ghanaian. If things must work well in the health sector, Parliament should, as a matter of urgency, pass a law that will prevent politicians from using state resources to seek medical attention out of the country. If all of them were seeking medical treatment within the confines of this country, the narrative would have changed, you say. Eyewitness News 97.3 Citi FM. Take a short break. When we return, we'll tell you more. Don't go away.
Eyewitness News. Be there as it happens.
I'm afraid. Yeah. Media sambisanda mo. Eti amratia no. Mumu hwan pa na tumi hwe na mo bodom pe mo mana yakono. Eye kwabna. Na mumu hwan so na tumi just mali me maye ni nyina de. Eye kojo. Enu kro. Kobre tumi hwe na bodom pe mo sense o yisu president eba. Aye den oban ni do braye. Bu si echi na mo hoban na sem mana hoode ne. Sa ani na kudwo nso yisu president chako. Na eno ne de e ma wo se wo ye krejen fita. Na watimi asiri bedwo ma na feel you. Kojo sa. Yeah. President Eba and President Chako. Afedie. Ya kono natural.
FDIJ Chadion Katuyatu.
Do you care enough about your business? Then it's time to make a transition to renewable energy and energy efficiency solutions. Visit the AGI Energy Service Center and talk to us. AGI ESC cares about business growth. That is why we're here to assist industries cut production costs through energy savings. We provide you with solar feasibility studies, energy audits, energy efficiency trainings, and financial advisory services. Visit agiesc.com for more information or call us on 0507 977 902, an initiative of the Association of Ghana Industries in partnership with the German Development Corporation, implemented by GIZ.
Let your voice be heard on Eyewitness News on Facebook at facebook.com/Citi97.3, Twitter at twitter.com/Citi973, and Instagram at instagram.com/Citi973 with the hashtag Eyewitness News.
Eyewitness News on 97.3 Citi FM. My name is Salam Adunu. I'm here with Hawa Mustafa. And a few of your messages coming through. Good evening, Salam. The government does not prioritize the health of Ghanaians. They prefer to spend on the Black Stars and our health. Ghanaians are not angry enough. That's from Jones Adoboy. Prince Harry in Kofrodia says, good evening. To be sincere, the money the Nanado Baumia government has spent on the needless National Cathedral would have been used to cater for the daily dialysis of the good people of Ghanaians. So why is the government not thinking about the people of Ghana rather than their self-interest? That's from Prince Henry in Koforidua. Now let's do some LGBT matters.
The Deputy Majority Leader in Parliament, Alexander Penyomarkin, has opposed to a custodial sentence for individuals involved in LGBTQ plus activities. Parliament approved a bill proposing a 3 to 5 year jail term for those who willingly promote or sponsor LGBTQ plus activities, with individuals caught in the act facing a minimum of 6 months and the maximum of 3 years in prison. During the clause-by-clause amendment of the bill on the promotion of proper human sexual rights and Ghanaian family values, Alexander Penyomarkin argued that such a punitive action may not contribute to the rehabilitation of the individuals involved.
Mr. Speaker, it is my contention that given the state of our prison, a custodial sentence will not lead to a rehabilitation of the offender if he is convicted. It cannot be an option. Mr. Speaker, if indeed we are promoting Ghanaian family values, then our Ghanaian family values would not have the consequence of those who are in breach being destroyed in society. Mr. Speaker, it could be a son, a nephew, an uncle, an auntie. It could be a bishop's own son.
Deputy Majority Leader in Parliament, Alexander Penyomarkin.
Eyewitness News on 97.3 Citi FM. Now let's speak to the Amnesty International Country Director, Genevieve Partington. She's of the view that the bill, should be withdrawn altogether because she claims that some clauses in same, are ambiguous. Let's interrogate her views on the matter. Hello, good evening, ma'am. Welcome to Eyewitness News. You say that certain clauses in the bill are ambiguous. What clauses would these be?
Okay, so thank you, first of all, for having me. We have certain specific clauses in the bill. I'll give you one. There's a clause 7 on prohibition of gross indecency. That specifically says a person who publicly and willfully does a grossly indecent act commits a misdemeanor. Now, what are the grossly indecent acts? We have something like romantic relations between or among persons of the same sex, public show of romantic relations. So what exactly, the grossly indecent act is not defined. Is holding hands with the same sex a grossly indecent act, for example? It is very, very ambiguous. The other issue on the bill is they have not, from the first part of the bill, they have not defined who a homosexual is. They have not defined who is gay. They have just stated it. And then, if you find someone who is gay or has committed an act, you, as a citizen of this country, are supposed to report. So can you imagine, maybe some people think, maybe because somebody is walking in a certain way or somebody does their hair in a certain way, they may be gay. But that is just very subjective knowledge, and it is personal opinion. So these are some of the clauses that are, very ambiguous. Amnesty International is completely against the bill, period. Whether it's custodial sentencing, whether it's non-custodial sentencing, the fact that you are sending people to jail just because they are living their life free and trying to exist while respecting the laws of Ghana and within their jurisdiction, and it is their private life, that alone means the bill should be thrown out. Now, let me give you a few other examples. So,
but let me just interrogate that a bit. The point of every law, every act has a section called interpretation or the interpretation section.
Yes.
So for example, you say gay hasn't been defined. Gay has been defined.
It hasn't.
No,
it
gay.
Hasn't. It's vague. It's vaguely defined.
So, but it's been defined. So, gay means in the interpretation section of it, it says gay means a man who is primarily attracted to men and engages in sexual activities with men. That is the definition provided. And how vague is this definition? This is straight to the point. And
so you said a man who is attracted to men. How do you know a man is attracted to men? Is it written on their face? I'm asking you as a journalist, if somebody is a lesbian, is it written on your face that you are a lesbian? No.
It may not be written. It may not be written on the person's face, but the person's expression and the way the person carries, goes about his activities will show the person is.
So now I'm telling you that a person's expression and the way the person carries about itself is completely subject to your own personal opinion. Because some people walk a certain way and are not gay. You need to understand that. Let me continue with other sections of the bill we have.
Yeah, but before that, if you see two men kissing in public, that is not subject to an opinion. That is an act of intimacy. So that clearly is an expression that should be questioned or that should be reported.
But sir, let me land, please. So I said it is still ambiguous because what is romantic display of affection? This is a bill and it can be interpreted in any way. You've interpreted it one way, I've interpreted it in a different way. So that should tell you that several Ghanaians will have different interpretations of the bill. So as I continue, there are other issues. They said medical treatment has been deleted. That is what I'm hearing. Fine, no problem. But there are other implications of the bill. Okay, that's the mere fact that you are taking people to jail. Already, our jail cells are heavily congested due to the persons on remand. And now you are saying that people who are just loving each other and not committing a crime, because from definition of crime, crime means you are harming someone else. How is kissing a woman kissing a woman harming another person?
The person will be harming the morals of society. It will be harming the morals of society.
So who defines morality? Ghana is a secular state. I repeat, Ghana is a secular state. We cannot be moral police. That is not.
But secularity and morality are two different things.
I want to stick to the facts. I don't want to argue based on emotions. I want to stick to the facts. So there's another issue. So basically, the fact that you jail people is wrong. Under even the Universal Declaration of Human Rights, as we speak right now, persons are being evicted from their households due to suspicion of LGBTI activity. Now, when you do that, forced eviction, this is going to happen to the less privileged in society. It's not going to happen to upper class. It's not going to happen to middle class, most likely. But the people that will be more oppressed will be those who are less privileged, who live in areas where there is homophobia and there will be instances of violence. Since the bill entered Parliament, there have been increased thoughts of violence, there have been increased hate crimes, and there has been a little brutality towards the LGBTI community. So for that fact alone, the bill should not even exist. And I know that they are trying to remove the medical treatment because that is tied to public funding. But even when you talk about custodial sentencing, the definition covers not just prison term. It also covers closed therapeutic or reformatory, through institutions. So it still, in a way, covers medical treatment under the bill, although it is not stated there explicitly. So still, there is some form of public funding tied to the bill.
I see.
People are going to jail.
Yes. So of course, you've identified a few things you think could be better. One is the interpretation. So I think once the interpretation portion is sorted out, we make it a bit direct or specific. I'm sure that you should be fine with that. But your point, your point,
Amnesty International,
yes,
is completely, I state.
Yes, but here is a case. The society
completely and totally against this bill.
Yes, no problem. That's fine.
Whatever they do to the bill, it is completely against the Universal Declaration of Human Rights. Period.
Yes, but the society has set for itself standards, values, morals, and the society
values, morals.
No, we are a society of values and morals. And so the society has its own definition of same. The society made up of chiefs, religious bodies, everybody. The society generally has agreed that these are the precepts we go by. And so that becomes what forms the fulcrum of our laws. And so once these laws are breached, there should be consequences. And so if you say that the punishments are too severe, yes, we can have a conversation. But to say that because, somebody will be jailed for breaching a societal precept, and so that person will be jailed, means that the law is bad. I'm not sure it's exactly what it should be.
So let me give you an example. The death penalty, people find it morally right for the state to condemn people and sentence people to death. But that doesn't make it right. I hope you agree with me on that. So I would like to ask you, I'm putting it out to you, the journalist. So as the bill stands, what would you suggest is a better form of punishment? Because that is exactly what it is, punishment for loving the same sex, basically.
Yes, loving, which is against the societal, norm of who you can love, according to the society. No, according to the society.
So I'm putting it to you. What would you suggest would be the best jail term?
No, I don't know. You have a problem with what is currently stated. So I thought you would come up with another suggestion as far as punishment is concerned. No, you are suggesting a total withdrawal. And I'm saying that I'm not sure that will work, because the people of Ghana, through their representatives, have said this. And that is what the people of Ghana want. So withdrawing it entirely, I'm not sure is the way to go.
So let me give you some statistics. Afro Barometer, right? That was conducted by CDD Ghana. They conducted a report, okay, on those who do not subscribe to LGBT activity, okay. Majority of Ghanaians said they are not accepting of LGBTI activity, which is fine. But when you come to, okay, should you criminalize the activity? Now, people are like, not so sure. Is it necessary to send people to jail for this when there are other more severe crimes? Because, certain people define it as a crime. I don't. But, people are like, is this really a crime that deserves jail term? And that is where people said no. So you need to look at the statistics as well. It's okay to not subscribe to LGBTI. It's okay to not agree with the community or what they do, but that is separate and different from criminalizing it. And I want people to understand that. It is completely separate. You can be a Christian, you can be a pastor, and you can completely be totally against LGBTI community. You don't like it. However, now the state has gone to a higher extent of sending people to jail. And the issue here is now, and these are real issues that are actually happening right now. People are being evicted from their houses because they are being suspected of LGBTI community. There was a hotel, I will not mention their name. I actually called a hotel that we were going to use for a program. And they specifically told us that, they do not allow same-sex persons to pair together, even for a conference or anything of the sort, because you'll be suspected of LGBTI activity. So these are some of the restrictions that are going to come. And maybe you are going with your sister, with your cousin to a hotel, you share a room. Nope, the hotel now says they don't do that. So these are some of the implications we are talking about of the bill. You understand?
I see.
And it doesn't, and lastly, the bill will not just affect the LGBT community. It will also affect we Ghanaians and we activists. Our work as human rights activists, we go around advocating for the rights of everyone, regardless of sexual orientation, gender, race, disability, religion, color, cultural group. It doesn't matter. We advocate for rights for all. So to some extent, our work is going to be hindered and challenged with this bill. I know the proponents of the bill have said several times that it will not hinder our work, but I am seeing the hindrance already, because right now, these persons feel very stigmatized and they don't even want to come out and receive the support they usually get. I'll give you one example.
Yes.
HIV.
Yes, I know about the HIV thing and the fact that the homosexual community are a huge part of the HIV infected person. They are unable to come out because of the stigma, etc. So we appreciate that. Thank you so much, Genevieve. Genevieve Partington. We'll be talking more on the matter. Eyewitness News on 97.3 Citi FM. Now let's speak to Sam George Nate, or Sam Nate George, who is MP for Ningo Prampram and one of the proponents of the anti-gay bill. Hello, Honorable. Welcome to Eyewitness News. The Amnesty International thinks that some of the terms you have put in the bill, are quite vague, and because of that, the bill should be withdrawn. What do you say?
Good evening, Shalom, and good evening to your listeners. I thought you were going to keep Genevieve on the line because I was going to start by extending greetings to her from our mutual friend, Nikwate. But look, I've listened to Genevieve's whole submission. She said she didn't want to get emotional. It was all emotions and no facts. He clearly doesn't even understand what she's speaking to. And it's a disappointment that for one who represents Amnesty International, she would not speak to the facts. I'm glad you put it to her that she was being untruthful when she said that we didn't define what it meant to be a homosexual or what it meant to be gay. There's an interpretation section in the bill that defines every single part of the bill and every single offense in the bill. Every word that's technically used is defined in the bill. Again, she claims that why are you punishing people that are just loving each other? Again, you want to ask yourself, does she follow the facts and statistics that the Ghana Health Service puts out in the Ghana AIDS Commission? That 70% of the 54% increase in HIV/AIDS in our country over the past 2 years has been driven by men having sex with men. And she says that has no impact on our national spending and that has no impact on society. Is Genevieve suggesting that we live in a jungle? Even in the jungle, there are rules. There are rules of who is superior animal over the other, who is prey and who is the predator. Even in the jungle, there are rules. For her to suggest that we cannot have rules and ask you who determines what the societal norms are, why has she not asked? Why is Amnesty International not criticizing the arrest, prosecution, and jailing of young men who went to steal a bunch of bananas for 10 years? Why is she not saying that our cells are full, so rapists should not be sent there? Because at the end of the day, rapists also go into prison and rape other people in prison. So what is the justification? I mean, the logic behind her submission is very weak. And I think Genevieve should get a legal education. Because if she did, she would understand that indecent exposure in the bill is not a new construct and does not apply to only homosexuals, even heterosexuals. Salom, you're a married man like I am. If both of us decided to take our lawfully married wives, if I took my wife and decided that I was going to get intimate with her in my car, on a public road, and the police stopped me, I am guilty of the offense of indecent exposure, and I can be prosecuted and jailed by our current legal jurisprudence. If you went to the beach, you went to Labadi Beach or any of the beach fronts we had and decided to get intimate with your wife there, she's your lawfully wedded wife. You are a heterosexual man, but you will be charged with indecent exposure. So if we then say that indecent exposure is an offense for homosexuals, and she says she can't understand and she doesn't know where it's coming from, then we need to enroll her in the Ghana Law School, or at least in an LLB program, to understand and study the legal jurisprudence.
No, I think she's adequately educated in the law, and so that's why she reads
Act 29. If she reads the Criminal Offences Act, at least for a start, she will not embarrass herself the way she has just done and embarrass an institution like Amnesty International that she represents in Ghana. Look, this bill is a custodian of our family values and human sexual rights. Again, let me state for the record that Genevieve has lied through her teeth, and she fails to show evidence when she said two things. First and foremost, that the bill flies in the face of the Universal Declaration on Human Rights. It is not true, but I'm not surprised. I mean, if she doesn't even understand Act 29 of Ghana, how will she understand the UN Universal Declarations on Human Rights?
I think she's adequately educated in the human rights law and what the Universal Declaration says.
Because the UN Declaration on Human Rights makes 30 declarations. There are 30 of them. There are 30 human rights identified in the UN Declaration of Human Rights. None of them is on homosexuality. None of them is on sexual orientation. None of them is on gender identity. So I challenge her, and you can put her back on the line. And I challenge her from today till next year.
Yes.
This year is the 75th year of celebrating the UN Declaration of Human Rights.
Very well, Sam. So, very well.
Gender identity. And then the last point she made, Salon, please, in 10 seconds. The last point she made, which is untrue, which she couldn't substantiate. Again, I challenge her to show you evidence of landlords evicting people on suspicion of homosexuality or violence since the bill came on against persons of who are engaged in homosexuality. I mean, this emotional blackmail will not wash. We're a country that has our culture. If some people have chosen to become slaves to cultural imperialism, we are proud citizens of the land. We know our culture. We know our heritage. We know who we are, and we will defend and fight for it with the last drop of our blood.
Very well. So 2 quick things. Explain to me why, Parliament decided to reduce the punishment in terms of the number of years a person may serve a jail term for the advocacy bit of it. And why is it that if someone is caught in the act, the person is given a lesser punishment than somebody just advocating for it?
Okay. So, Salom, the reason why I made a statement in February 2021, this whole thing started in February 2021. In January 2021, there was the opening of an advocacy office sponsored by the EU Commission and had in attendance the then Australian High Commissioner and I think the ambassador from Netherlands or so in attendance. And I did a statement on the floor of the House in February calling on state security to shut down that office, that advocacy office, in some part of Accra, I think Agbogba or something. And then said I was going to bring a bill to deal with advocacy. The real threat with homosexuality is advocacy and glamorization of what is a perverse cultural identity. The glamorization of it and the promotion of it is where the danger exists. And that's why if you read the bill, we have decided that we are going to tackle wholeheartedly the promotion, the funding, and the support of anybody who is seeking to willfully promote something that is against our cultural identity as a people. Now, we are not interested in the private business of people. Nobody's going to come, and I made this point in the House yesterday, in response to Afenyo Market. Nobody's going to come into your bedroom to say, what are you doing in your bedroom? But when you make your private matter an issue of public policy, then public policy and legislation would apply to it. And so we have decided, in consultation with the committee and with the Attorney General's department, we decided at first it was classified as a second-degree felony. And then we looked at it and said, let's make it a misdemeanor. But the main object of the bill, which is to deal with the advocacy for something which is against our culture, we will make a second-degree felony. Now, if you look at the sentencing regime that we have in the country, there are prescribed sentences for first misdemeanors, second-degree felonies, and first-degree felonies. And on the basis of that, once we made it a misdemeanor, we made it appropriate with the punishment. And if you even look at what we did, we then said that we're going to, for people caught in the act, because again, we are interested in the reformation and restitution of the individual to what is appropriate customary values. We said the punishment is left to the discretion of the judge. The judge can give a first-time offender and take into consideration all the circumstances of an accused person.
Very well.
And give a fine. Let me just make this clear. A fine of 750 penalty units minimum, or maximum 2,500 penalty units, or an imprisonment of 6 months, maximum 3 years, or both in the case of repeat offenders or the circumstances of the case. However, in those who willfully fund and support it, we are insisting that there will be no opportunity for a fine because you have too much money. That's why you are investing that money in sponsoring something that is against our culture. So we'll give you the opportunity to just pay money and walk away. And that's why yesterday we vehemently opposed Afenyo's submission of 50 penalty units, which comes to 300 Ghana cedis. It will make no sense to punish someone who is funding the LGBTQ community and punish him with 300 Ghana cedis. That's why we say if you are caught and found to be promoting, sponsoring or funding LGBTQ activities in this country, the minimum sentence is 3 years and maximum is 5 years.
Very well.
Second degree felony.
Very well. Thanks so much, Sam Nate George, Member of Parliament for Nigo Pram, and one of the proponents for the anti-gay bill. Eyewitness News on 97.3 Citi FM. Now, the leadership of the Senior Staff Association of Universities of Ghana, the Federation of Universities Senior Staff Association, and the Teachers and Education Workers Union of TUC have decided to suspend their strike. The three groups initiated a strike on January 18, citing the government's failure to address pension-related concerns as a reason for the action. The president for the Senior Staff Association, Isaac Donko, says some of their concerns have been addressed, leading to the decision to suspend the strike.
We met the government, they pleaded, and for the sake of the children, both university students and the basic school students, we have to make progress. So we ask them to pay all the outstanding. We ask them to pay all the outstanding arrests. So the outstanding arrest has been paid up to December. Then our overtime allowance has been restored. So we engage them on the roadmap for them to pay the penalty.
Isaac Donko is the president of the Senior Staff Association of Universities of Ghana. Eyewitness News on 97.3 Citi FM. Up next is Citi Business News. Don't go away.
Eyewitness News. Be there as it happens.
The wait is over. It's the Clash of Titans. The Total Energies African Cup of Nations Côte d'Ivoire 2023 is here. And as part of this year's competition, all Total Energy service stations will go into 100% football mode. So drive to selected service stations and kickstart your year with lots of amazing giveaways. So starting Sunday 14th January, when you buy fuel or lubricants on selected match days from selected Total Energy service stations, you instantly win amazing branded souvenirs. Let's celebrate the passion of football together and win lots of gifts during the 2023 Total Energies African Cup of Nations. Remember, promo is valid while stocks last. Visit our social media pages Total Energies GH for more information. Terms and conditions apply. Let's live football together.
Citi TV is live on DSTV, GoTV, and HD+. On DSTV, find us on channel 363. On GoTV, we're on channel 117, and on HD+, get us on channel 108. On a digital TV, run a new search, but take note that without an antenna, you cannot access Citi TV. Citi TV can be accessed on any free-to-air digital box like the GoTV and HD+ boxes. Citi TV, it's your world.
Eyewitness News. Be there as it happens.
Get the details. Every significant financial transaction, every market movement, and all the policies that affect your business. Citi Business News. Be informed.
Time now for Citi Business News on Eyewitness News, brought to you by GCB Bank PLC. GCB Personal Loan, make that big move and dream a reality. My name is Hawa Idrisu Mustafa. Details of our stories now. Economist Professor William Bamboaten is urging government to implement robust policies that will make the country's commodities more attractive for export. According to data from the Ghana Statistical Service, the nation imported from 47 countries more than it exported in the first half of 2023. Imports originated from a total of 191 countries, while exports were directed towards 144 countries. Speaking at the 70th anniversary of GCB Platinum Thought Leadership Conference, Professor Boatin advised government to effectively educate farmers on making their produce marketable for exports.
The women have to drive past Kumasi, past Akumadan, the tomato headquarters, go to Burkina Faso, and then bring tomatoes, but they will not want to come to Akumadan. It is because of the nature and the type of tomatoes that we produce. Because we have tried to use certain methods, such that when you buy the tomato and you put it there, within 2 days, you cannot use it again. But from Burkina Faso, you'll be able to put it down there for 1 week or sometimes 2 weeks, and you can use it. Why is it that you cannot use this one? Because for the farmers, they want more yield. And to the extent that sometimes if you want to suppress the ripening of the tomatoes, you can even use fertilizer to spray the leaves and it will still continue to be green and you will not have it rot. As soon as you take it out, then you have a problem. So the systematic way of solving it here is making the institutions sit up. Extension services are there. What kind of education are we giving to the farmers in that regard?
Professor William Babwatin is an economist. The Executive Secretary of the Importers and Exporters Association, Samson Asaki Awingobit, has indicated that the Economic Community of West African States, ECOWAS, should desist from banning trade with the 3 countries that recently exited the organization. Mali, Burkina Faso, and Niger, who are being led by the military, recently withdrew their membership from ECOWAS. Speaking to Citi Business News, Samson Asaki Awingobit said imposing trade restrictions between ECOWAS member states and the 3 countries could have dire economic implications.
There was this Humanitarian issue that came. Most of the live animals that we kill, it comes from this Niger and other people countries. You understand? Very good. So Niger, so we know that we have this cattle come from Niger. We have the cattle come from Mali. We bring in onions and other things from Burkina Faso. And other vegetables from Burkina Faso. So that is going to be an effect on us if they say today that they might not just ban it, but they might say, okay, if you are coming to my country to do business, you have to pay the full duties and taxes. Meanwhile, we are already crying of the taxes in the country here. So I think that let our government treat it with caution, let ECOWAS slow down the pace. We should rather get immediate to come intermediate done. Because Niger and Mali and Burkina Faso, if they are following us, there are certain peace communities that we bring it from there to our country, even Ghana here. And Ghanaians also pick certain products to them. And so this is ECOWAS taking a serious decision by sanctions, by putting certain sanctions. We need to know that we each other survive on each other problems. And that is true. So that would be a chaos if we should go ahead with it.
Samson Asaki Awingobit is the Executive Secretary of the Importers and Exporters Association of Ghana. Now, some industry players have expressed their willingness to engage the government over the 15% VAT on electricity for consumers above lifeline consumption. The government's decision to suspend the VAT on domestic electricity consumption has garnered positive responses from industry players after the initial opposition to the tax. Seth Chumakwabwa is the chief executive of the Association of Ghana Industries, and he says the government's proposal for a stakeholder engagement is crucial to reaching a consensus.
The government has seen the wisdom in backtracking on this and deciding that they have suspended it. So I think it's in order, and we support that move, because when it is suspended, the limitations will go, and then it allows more opportunity for dialogue, discussions, and deeper analysis of the situation, so that the best of policy is taken that is going to have a long-term positive impact on the economy and everyone. The people's economy at the individual level, at the micro level, is also very important at the macro level. So we need to have a good balance between the two. So when the people are expressing sentiments on taxes that's going to affect their living, going to affect their wages, going to affect their ability to have a good and decent living, then it must be of concern to government, it must be concern to all of us.
Seth Chumakwabwa is Chief Executive of the Association of Ghana Industries, AGI. Some players within the local tourism industry have voiced concerns over the hefty taxes imposed on certain services related to touring local destinations. They argue that such taxation practices hinder the competitiveness of the Ghanaian tour industry, leading to the loss of clients to neighboring countries. Among those raising these issues is Land Tour Limited, with its chief executive Maoli Jebu, who spoke to the media during the unveiling ceremony of the latest luxury buses, which marks the company's 30th anniversary. Maoli Jebu highlighted the adverse impact of high taxes on the industry's ability to attract tourists, stressing the need for policy reforms to enhance the sector's viability and competitiveness in the regional markets.
It is a difficult environment to work in. I mean, everybody's complaining about taxes. And when you put out a package to people about a good chunk, 20% of that is just taxes. And that is a very, very disturbing phenomenon, because you are competing with other destinations where before you even go to other destinations, you have all these challenges you have to come through. You can go to Senegal with an American passport, you don't need a visa, but you have to go get a visa at the Ghana Embassy for $100 in addition to paying all the taxes. So of course, we need to take a look at how we price things and what are the inputs that go into our pricing. Taxes is a big part of it. We are in talks with the authorities. We are hoping that they'll be able to work with us to be able to know that clients have other choices. They could go to somewhere else. Kenya is now doing visa-free. Senegal is doing that. Abidjan is doing the same thing. So we need to look at those challenges and see what we can do to be competitive in our destination.
That was the Chief Executive of Land Trust Limited, Mauli Jebu. The High Commissioner of Kenya to Ghana, Eliphas Barin, has emphasized that the $30 processing fee requirement for entrant into Kenya is not a ploy to covertly impose visa fees. This clarification comes amidst the announcement by Kenyan President William Ruto of a visa-free entry policy last month, aiming to promote unrestricted travel within the African continent. Despite the visa-free entry policy, Kenyan authorities have clarified that visitors must apply for electronic travel authorization, which involves submitting documentation and paying a $30 processing fee. The imposition of this fee has led to criticism, with some deeming the process burdensome. The High Commissioner to Ghana, Eliphas Barin, disclosed this on the sidelines of a roadshow in Accra.
New regime requires that every applicant pays $30. This is not visa fee, it is processing fee. But again, it has been realized it is causing a little bit of a challenge, particularly with citizens of countries that we have visa abolition or who did not require to make any payments, like it is between ourselves and Ghana. And there's a team that has been put in place. It has a deadline of 15th of this month to complete the process and upgrade the system so that applicants from countries that did not require will no longer have to be required to pay the $30. So really, it is not a visa fee, it is a processing fee to make all of us safe. But I don't want to preempt the outcome of that task force. I think we will have to wait, but the intention is to make sure that we make it as smooth as it can and go back to a situation whereby we continue with a good working relationship, with a good relationship that we have, and make truly a Kenya a visa-free country.
That was the High Commissioner of Kenya to Ghana, Eliphas Barin, ending City Business News on Eyewitness News. The business news on Eyewitness News is brought to you by GCB Bank PLC. GCB Personal Loan, make that big move and dream a reality. My name is Hawa Idrisu Mustafa. Up next is Point Blank.
Hello, Linda. You won't believe what I am planning next. I want to start my postgraduate degree, buy a car, and build my dream home. But you know what's stopping me?
What's that, Mike?
Money, that be my biggest wahala.
Oh, you are sorted, Cry. With a GCB Big Move personal loan promo, you can borrow up to a whopping 400,000 Ghana cedis at a significantly reduced interest rate in less than 24 hours.
Like, seriously? How do I qualify?
Yes, it's available to all GCB salary account holders. Plus, you get a 2-month grace period before you start to pay back.
Susket, I'm opening an account with GCB now.
Get a personal loan of up to 400,000 Ghana cedis at a significantly reduced interest rate in less than 24 hours. Call 0800-422-422 or visit your nearest GCB branch today to fund your next big move as we celebrate 70 years of greatness. T's and C's apply. GCB Bank, your bank for life.
Eyewitness News. Be there as it happens.
The wait is over. It's the Clash of Titans. The Total Energies African Cup of Nations Côte d'Ivoire 2023 is here. And as part of this year's competition, all Total Energy service stations will go into 100% football mode. So drive to selected service stations and kickstart your year with lots of amazing giveaways. So starting Sunday 14th January, when you buy fuel or lubricants on selected match days from selected Total Energy service stations, you instantly win
win amazing branded souvenirs. Let's celebrate the passion of football together and win lots of gifts during the 2023 Total Energies African Cup of Nations. Remember, promo is valid while stocks last. Visit our social media pages Total Energies GH for more information. Terms and conditions apply. Let's live football together.
Eyewitness News. Be there as it happens.
"22 minutes to the top of the hour. This is Point Blank on Eyewitness News. My name is Salom Adunu. Tonight on Point Blank, we are in the Bekwai constituency of the Ashanti region, a safe seat for the New Patriotic Party, but was at a point in time disrupted by an independent candidate by name Joe Sewusu. Of course, he went on to become a Deputy Speaker of Parliament. But he says this time he is not running again, and he did not run any longer. In his place is another lawyer, a younger one, by name Ralph Poku Edusei. Guest tonight on Point Blank. Hello, Council. Welcome to Point Blank.
Hi, Salam. Good evening. Thank you for having me on Point Blank.
Yes, and congratulations to you for winning the Bekwai constituency primaries. Of course, prior to the elections, we heard about COP George Mensah, who had been in the news weeks prior because of his run-ins with the IGP and all of that. And we were told that he was very strong on the ground, only to have you beat him by some 600 to 240 or so votes. How did you do that?
Salam, good evening once again, and good evening to your listeners. It's quite a very simple formula. Indeed, the COP came to the race, but I think that it was a bit too late for him to join the race at the time that he did. Because the information that Honorable Oseusu was not contesting again was somewhat out. I think 2 years or 3 years. I think right after the elections, he was quite clear that he's not going to seek a re-election come 2023, 2024, as was initially anticipated. All that time, I was involved in the race. If you look at my preparation towards this contest, it started way back. I think sometime in 2015 that I identified the opportunity that one day I can serve the people of Bekwai. I started putting in place preparation towards that, logistically, financially, and otherwise building the relationship that is necessary to make sure that whenever you enter the race, you are going to be successful. So I think that the timing for the COP to enter the race was rather too late. That is one that accounted for his failure to even come close to half of the votes that I got. In my case,
so if you had, are you saying that if you had come earlier, he could have won? Is that what you're saying?
No,
so
no.
It's not necessarily about your message or competence, but because he came in late. Is that the point you're making?
No, winning was out of the contest for him. I had prepared myself all this while for the position that I am now today. In terms of competence, I'm a lawyer. 14 years at the bar, 13 to 14 years at the bar. I've prepared myself to one day lead a constituency. I understand the dynamics of the constituency. I was born into the politics in the constituency. So it had nothing to do with whether he entered late or I was just giving the response based on the question you asked, making reference to his issues with the police, making him popular. Then he now jumped into the politics. That is why I gave you that answer. But in terms of competence, I still believe that I was ahead of all the contestants that, or the candidates that took part in this contest. So it's not because he entered late that accounted for his loss, but he was certainly not going to win. And when I measured the effort I put in, vis-a-vis the rest of the contestants or the candidates that stood for these elections, I think it is fair to say that it was in place that I won. I have taken up the constituency, or I've taken up the NPP Bekwai constituency up myself to provide financially the support that they have ever required as far as I can. I've provided it to them. I've been involved in the party activities in the constituency. I've also been involved in other interventional programs, sort of on the level of philanthropy and what have you, to make sure that I contribute to the well-being of the constituency. So if today I'm offered the opportunity to serve the constituency in the capacity as the Member of Parliament, I think it's in place. It's not out of place. So yes, I am very happy that all my efforts have paid off at this time.
So, of course, we've heard that in running for election in areas like, strongholds, Ashanti region of Bekwai, it's quite expensive to do so. Indeed, Adumaku Kisi, who lost his bid to, the second bid to Parliament, said he spent, or you need about 2 million cedis to be able to prosecute a successful campaign as a parliamentary aspirant, to win the primaries. Do you agree with that assertion or that view he expressed, that sometimes it can be very capital intensive?
It is capital intensive, especially when you look at the general economic conditions in the country. In places like Bekwai, simply because of the size of the constituency, you have to accept that you are going to be confronted with huge financial implications. Yes, I would agree with Adumaku in the regards that you need a lot of financial support to be able to prosecute a successful campaign and what have you. But then if you start early and you are able to get donors on board, and you're able to get sympathizers on board, and you're able to get other institutions or companies to support your bid, how do you do that? You engage them. You explain your vision, why you want to lead a constituency to them. If they buy into your vision, certainly they will provide some financial support.
So where will you put the financial support you require, somebody will require to win a primaries like this in Bekwai? He put it at 2 million for Anyaso Utu. Bekwai may be, more fiercely contested because once you win Bekwai for MPP, the assumption is that, which is indeed a fact, you are in Parliament, just a matter of time.
I won't put a figure to it. Reasons being that it's not just the funds you need to prosecute the campaign that matters here. You need to look at the interventions you will make to impact on the lives of the people in the constituency. You must physically, or you must do something tangible in the constituency. For instance, fixing boreholes, fixing toilet facilities, sometimes even having to clear up some roads to make some places accessible. In my case, I did a lot. The things I did in the constituency prior to contesting, if you have to quantify them, then you would be over the roof with the figures. But clearly, it was to demonstrate my capabilities or my abilities to lead a constituency. Now, if I'm not in parliament, this is how the whole contest was. If I'm not in parliament, and this is the extent of the interventions I've made in the constituency, then when I'm in parliament, what should you expect?
So if the MP now, incumbent MP Jose Owusu was running, would you have run as well?
Thinking about it today, yes, I would have. And I'm sure he would have lost the elections to me because when you look at the trend of leadership worldwide, you will realize that the youth is dominating, and that would have played against him. So, yes, I would have contested this time. That will remind you, or that will mean that last 4 years ago, or let's say, if you asked me the same question last 4 years, my answer would have been flatly no. But today, if you asked me if I would have contested Honorable Osei, yes, I would have contested him. And I'm sure I would have made an impact.
So are you saying this now because he supported your opponent, COP George Alex Mensah, and then he lost? So you think that, even though he was deemed as a popular force in the constituency, supporting another candidate with that force and power, he still lost. So it meant that if he had run himself, you would have beaten him. Is that the inference you're making?
But that is even a fair analogy for you to make. It goes without saying that if he contested me or if I contested him, he would be in the same position as the candidate he supported. It's obvious. But that is not why I'm saying that I would have contested him. I would have done so before the contest. I would have taken that decision before the contest. So saying that, yes, I would have contested him, it can be after the contest. Obviously, what's going to be before the contest? And I'm saying this for very good reason. I would have weighed my preparation. I already mentioned that I started preparing for this contest in 2015. 2016, he was the candidate for MPP. 2020, he was the candidate for NPP. So I sort of observed the style of leadership. I've seen the things he didn't do and the things he did. And then I would have countered them if he had contested in 2023, 2024. So strategically, I have observed, I have understudied, or I well observed what he was doing, and I would have used that against him. And that is why I said that having placed him under surveillance, or his leadership under surveillance in 2016, 2020, of course, I've identified certain loopholes or certain flaws about him that I would have used against him that would have put me ahead of him. Unlike me, who has not been in that position for you to observe or for you to actually appreciate or detect about me. So if you went into contest with me, you barely have anything to say about me. And that is what actually happened throughout this whole contest. If you realize, it was the executives who supported me that my opponents were concentrating on them, because they have been in the public domain and their lives have been in the face of the populace, and they had something to say about them. In my case, you had nothing to say about me. I am a new person, a new face coming on board. So the only option is that give me the chance and let's see what I'll bring on board. So that worked in my favor. And that same strategy would have worked in my favor if Honorable Osei had contested.
I see. This is the Point Blank on Eyewitness News. My guest is lawyer Ralph Poku-Dusay, MPP parliamentary candidate for the Bekwai constituency. He beat COP George Alex Mensah to the position, and two others, Henry Opoku-Ware and Kingsley Opoku-Ajiman. He's now the candidate, actually. And his father, Ike Edusei, Poku-Dusay, was the guy, the incumbent MP, Jose Owusu beat in that particular contest. If you recall, in 2008, Jose Owusu, then a member of, MPP candidate in the constituency, lost. He was not convinced because he felt things were not done well. He ran as an independent candidate and then beat the incumbent MP at the time, Ike Poku Dusay, in the election. So in the primaries of that election, it was Ralph's father, Ike Poku Dusay, that Jose Wusu tussled with, and so I'm not quite surprised that his son is coming back to pick up from where he started from. Now let's talk about Bekwa. Let's talk about Ashanti region. The people in your region and in your constituency often have said that the MPP government, has not been fair to them. They've not given them their fair share of development. They voted for the party, all along. They've stuck with the party. They've been loyal to the party. But the party doesn't appear to be interested in developing the Ashanti region. Is it a view that has come up in your rounds when you were preparing or campaigning to this position?
That assertion, I think, is subjective.
It's subjective or objective?
Subjective.
Okay.
I don't think that is a fair or a true state of affairs in the Ashanti region. Yes, I've heard about that complaint, or I've heard about people going about it, saying all sorts. But I think that in the grand scheme of things, we need to look at the MPP government, what it has done for the country, and not specifically for a particular region. If you say that...
what has the party done for the country generally? What has the party done?
I think
apart from maybe free SHS, which still has its issues,
quite a lot. You can name them here. The past 4 years, or let's say from 2018 till date, globally, every economy has suffered a downturn. You had the Ukraine war between Russia, then you had this coronavirus, and every economy was just going down like that. But then the economy in Ghana too went down. But when you look at what is actually happening now, you will see some sort of stability. I will agree that we've had our bad times, but gradually we are bouncing back as economy. So if you don't accept
and you're bouncing back because of the help of the IMF. The IMF, your party and key persons in your party criticized the opposition for. Said it took us to IMF. The same IMF is the one supporting you today.
Yeah, but the decision was taken by MPP to go to the IMF. And it became necessary to go to IMF. And we did go to IMF. And out of that, we are now coming back. So yes, you have to also accept that the credit should go to NPP. The reason
but they said it was something they were not going to consider. Indeed, they said we are proud people. We will develop our own country with our own resources. We are not going to the IMF today. We will not go tomorrow. Only to turn around and eat your own vomit. I mean,
I won't even say it was a turnaround. For instance, the circumstances were completely different. Back then, you look at the circumstances that the country was in, and nonetheless, you're trying to go to IMF. What for? But then when you suffer a downturn like this coronavirus outbreak, this Ukraine-Russian war, the dollar suffering and the rest of it, and you are now taking a decision to go to IMF, then there's every reason to go to IMF. So it's two different circumstances. So you can't generalize it. That is the point I'm trying to make.
Yeah, but the point I'm also trying to make in respect of that is the people managing the economy knew all that you are saying and even more. But yet, they said that they were not going today, they were not going tomorrow, because we are proud people, we'll solve our own problems, we do da-da-da-da. They went, and so that, don't you think that dented their credibility? Because you told everybody you will not go, and you berated the other side for going, only to go there and inflicting on the people the worst, form of economic management ever this country has seen in the last 2-3 years. People losing money, DDEP, financial crisis, people losing jobs and investments, a whole lot. Fuel prices going up, taxes. People of Ghana cannot even breathe. Government looking for the least opportunity to impose tax on people. It's people have had it to their neck, and so it's not a good story, really. So I'm wondering how you are selling your message, selling your party's message. Maybe in Bekwa things are fine because it's a stronghold, but you have a hurdle as a party to cross in respect of these challenges I've just enumerated.
I will agree that we have a hurdle to cross. But the point I'm trying to make is that when there is an issue, you would first of all have options. You would have to execute them one after the other. But if it becomes absolutely necessary that an option that you detested, an option that you thought you would never embark on, is the only and obvious option and you resort to that option, I don't see anything wrong with that in the first place. And yes, the issue about this economic hardship was a global issue. It wasn't only in Ghana. So the management of the economy per se had to take decisions that they wish they would never take, and that accounted for the U-turn, as you will call it, going to the IMF and what have you. But then we need to look at the results it has yielded. The decision to go to IMF is not necessary at this stage. Going to the IMF, has it produced some relief? And yes, the answer is that it has brought some relief in the economy. As you are saying that, as soon as I said the economy is bouncing back, you are the person who said that you attributed it to the IMF, going to IMF for a bailout and what have you. So it was a prudent decision for the government to take, because now at least there is a relief. But if we had an option, we wouldn't have gone for the IMF. That is the point I'm trying to make.
Very well. So what do you want to do in Bekwai? I mean, Bekwai, by the help of Jose, who's been put on the map, Second Deputy Speaker of Parliament, quite an eloquent, gentle lawyer. You are also an eloquent lawyer. I mean, look like a gentleman as well. What do you want to do for Bekwai? How do you want to see Bekwai in the next 5 years or next 4 years after your first, at the end of your first tenure, of first term?
What I want to see in Bekwai is to reduce sort of the reliance of the constituency on the public purse. So we need to create an environment that Bekwai will become self-sufficient, and we can do it. When you look at the dynamics in the constituency, predominantly you have a constituency that is made up of the youth, but then the youth is characterized by unemployment. So what do we do to be able to make the constituency self-sufficient? That is how you look at it from the get-go. So what I propose to do if I should become the Member of Parliament in Bekwai is, first of all, how can we create a Bekwai constituency that will not rely so much on the national purse? So therefore, we need to look at interventions that will make Bekwai rely on its own resources. That is how I want to see Bekwai in the next 5 years. And how do we do that? We need to look at the potentials in the investment potentials, and then introduce local programs that will yield the results that we want. What are some of them? We need to look at how we can draw investors to Bekwai to set up companies, to set up factories, and make use of the natural resources that we can get in the constituency.
And that's what you told them. That's what you told the delegates, and that's what they believed in before they voted you into this position.
Yes, I made my point quite clear that I want to create a self-sufficient Bekwai constituency, and we can do it.
How do you say about to people who think that you won the position because you paid money out to the delegates? As the case was across the country in many of the constituencies, some we saw on video, etc.
That is far from the truth. Because I think the people in the delegates saw the message that I was promoting.
Your message of self-sufficiency for
Bekwai. They believed in it. And that is what formed the basis for them to vote for me. And indeed, we will achieve that.
Very well. Very well. So what's your last word to your last words to your constituents as we conclude?
My last words will be for them to have hope that the good times are coming, that the self-sufficient Bekwai that I promised to deliver, I will deliver it. And I'm sure they will give me all the support to be able to achieve that. And that is the message that I want to give to them tonight. I want them to have hope.
But this message of, we run out of time, but this message of self-sufficiency, is it not so too ambitious? What does Bekwai have? You're going to call investors to come set up factories, to come build, to make the people self-sufficient?
And I'm sure that with the help of God, we can achieve that.
Very well. That's the voice of lawyer Ralph Pokwudusei, member of MPP parliamentary candidate for the Bekwai constituency. He'll be replacing Jose Wusu. in Bekwai. He has been my guest on Point Blank on Eyewitness tonight. That's how we end the show tonight. Show produced by Nana Kobna Wilson, Samiri Afi, Beverly London. Earlier you heard Hawa Mustafa. And then technical assistance given by Daniel Squashi. Social media support provided by Edwin Kwakofi. My name is Salom Adunu. Up next is Sports Panorama, a show you don't want to miss tonight. Have a good evening.